What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Ezri Rozier here. What a terrible game yesterday. I mean, when we lost to Washington on Monday night, we were 8-0 at that point. We were going to lose a game eventually, and it figures it would be against a divisional opponent. So that loss, okay. And then last week, you lose to the Dallas Cowboys at AT&T Stadium on Christmas Eve. And Gardner Minshew, playing in relief of Jalen Hurts, he did a decent job in that game. So that loss, all right. But yesterday, to play like that against the 6-9 New Orleans Saints, that was embarrassing. That was embarrassing at home at Lincoln Financial Field. You stink up the joint against a 6-9 team at home like that. That was just utterly embarrassing. I have so many problems with yesterday's game. Gardner Minshew, what happened? What happened? Last week against the Cowboys, he looked decent. He had over 300 yards. He had, I think, 3 touchdown passes, ran for a touchdown. Gardner Minshew played a decent game against the Cowboys last week. And then yesterday, what the heck, man? What the heck, mustache man? Gardner Minshew yesterday, he couldn't hit the ocean if he was throwing a rock. Like, the dude, he was not making the throws. He was missing all kinds of throws yesterday. He was missing A.J. Brown. He was missing Devontae Smith. He was missing Dallas Goedert. The dude, like, there was so many problems yesterday, but a lot of it was Gardner Minshew. Like, first of all, the 4th and 1, there was one play in the game where it was a 4th and 1, and the Eagles are usually really good at converting 4th and 1s, short yardage situations like that with Jalen Hurts. Gardner Minshew, he's standing upright almost on a quarterback sneak. He's almost standing upright. He didn't even tuck his body down low enough to pull off the quarterback sneak. Who does that? Who stands up like, he's like standing up almost in an upright position. It's a quarterback sneak. Tuck your body down, Minshew. So we didn't get it. And I was like, wow, we did not get that 4th and 1. He didn't tuck his body down enough. And then he throws a pick 6 with 6 minutes left in the game. And it was Marshawn Lattimore who caught that pick 6. It figures Marshawn Lattimore, the same person during that playoff game against the Saints, where Foles threw that pass, it went right through Alshon Jeffrey's hands, and who intercepts it? Marshawn Lattimore. Marshawn Lattimore does it to us again. Sorry, guys. Marshawn Lattimore, he did it to us again. Again, Marshawn Lattimore. He's an Eagle killer. He's gonna get on the Eagle killer list now. But it's just, but you know what? It's not all Minshew. It was not all Minshew. So the play calling, I have an issue with the play calling too. Why do we keep doing this crap of reverting to the 2021 Eagles playbook of forgetting to run? Why do we keep going back to last season and not emphasizing the run, not using the run? Like, what is going on? Like, you saw this in Chicago. In the Chicago game last week, well, not last week, but 2 weeks ago, Miles Sanders, he only had 12 carries for the entire game. Only 12 carries for the entire, well, actually it was 11. 11 carries for that entire game. We were not utilizing the run in Chicago. It was the same story in this game. Miles Sanders only had 11 carries yesterday, and he only had two in the first half. What the heck is that all about, guys? Like, Gardner Minshew, as badly as he played yesterday, the coaching staff certainly didn't put him in a position to succeed by having this pass-heavy offense, by having him throw the ball that much. I can't put it all on Minshew, even though I blame a large portion of it on Minshew. The coaching staff set him up to fail yesterday by having us pass the ball that much. Why do you keep going back to the 2021 Eagles of not running the ball? I don't understand that. Like, this game was very similar to the Chicago game. Like, both units come out looking horrible. Both units come out looking very bad, but then the defense tightens up and the offense still sputters for the rest of the game. It was the exact same thing as Chicago yesterday. The defense, Jonathan Gannon, I was angry at Jonathan Gannon early. I'm not going to lie. I was very frustrated with Jonathan Gannon's defense in the first half. But in the second half, Jonathan Gannon made his adjustments. He made adjustments. I can't kill Jonathan Gannon because he adjusted to the game in the second half. The offense was the main reason why we lost yesterday, because the offense was just sputtering. The offense was stuck in sand. Like, Gardner Minshew, he made the one amazing touchdown throw to A.J. Brown. That was all he did. That was all he did. The pick 6, your defense was playing outstanding at that point. Andy Dalton, we were sacking him like 7 times. Andy Dalton was just getting destroyed in that second half. But when the defense is giving you an opportunity, when you're down just by 3 points with 6 minutes left in the game, you throw a pick six. You throw a pick six, Minshew. That cannot happen. That cannot happen, Minshew, down just by 3 points with 6 minutes left in the game. That's it. That's game. You threw a pick six at an inopportune time, Gardner Minshew. And it's like the series before that, you were throwing a lot of passes that could have been intercepted earlier. There could have been a lot of more interceptions yesterday, but you got lucky, Minshew. But the pick six, they jumped your route. It's so like once we got to third down, it seemed like I felt like our possession was over. We had the punt because we could not convert first downs yesterday. In the first half, we did not get a single first down until 11 seconds left in the second quarter. Like, we could not convert first downs yesterday. It was a struggle to just convert first downs, ladies and gentlemen. It was just horrendous. It was horrendous. We worsened our draft pick in the process, too. Not only did we blow another shot at the number 1 seed in the NFC East Division title, we made our draft pick worse. We had the Saints draft pick because of the trade earlier this season, earlier in the offseason, and we could have made it better by beating the Saints, but no. We lay an egg to the 6-9 New Orleans Saints at home, and we dropped to 13-3. It's horrible. Just absolutely horrendous game yesterday. I can live with the loss to Washington. The loss to Dallas really hurt me. It really hurt me, but I can live with that. I've kind of moved past that. But this loss yesterday is inexcusable. It's an inexcusable loss. The coaching staff, why do you just forget that we have this run game? Why do you forget about the running backs, Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell, Boston Scott? Like, why? Why do you want to go back to the 2021 Eagles of not using the run? Why would you want to do that? I don't understand. Somebody tell me. Somebody explain that crap to me, guys. Why do we ignore Miles Sanders so much? Like, I just don't understand. I don't understand. They did the same exact crap in Chicago. And luckily, we pulled out a win in that game. But we didn't get away with it this time. We did not get away with it this time. And for the love of God, Andy Dalton. Why in the world does Andy Dalton always have to look like a Hall of Famer every time he plays the Philadelphia Eagles? Why? Why? Every single time we play Andy Dalton, he looks like he belongs in the Hall of Fame. I don't get it. He looks like a first-team All-Pro. It happened in the Cowboys game in 2020. It happened in the Bengals game in 2016. It happened in the 2012 game against the Bengals at Lincoln Financial Field. It was on Thursday night. And it just happened again yesterday. Andy Dalton owns the Eagles. For some reason, we always have this habit of making Andy Dalton look like he's the second coming of Peyton Manning. I don't understand it. Andy, why can't we beat Andy Dalton? I don't understand it. He's not that good. He's not that good. He really isn't. At this stage in his career, you should not be letting Andy Dalton carve you up like this. In the first half, he was like 12 of 12. At one point, he was 12 of 12 yesterday. That's horrible defense. But like I said, they adjusted in the second half, so I'm more so angry with the offense. I'm more so angry with the offense about this loss yesterday because the defense, they got their stuff together in the second half. The offense didn't. Gardner Minshew, he stunk. And the coaching staff, they just could not set up the run. They did not want to set up the run game. They did not want to take pressure off of a struggling Gardner Minshew, and they kept having him pass. It was just like Doug Peterson's playbook in 2020. Seeing that Carson Wentz is struggling, and you still have us passing the ball instead of running the ball. We have one last chance to clinch the number 1 seed, guys. Next week against the New York Giants. We are so lucky. Imagine if the Cowboys had won that game against the Jaguars. Imagine if the Cowboys had held on to that 17-point lead in Jacksonville. We'd be in big trouble right now. We'd be in enormous trouble right now. But the Cowboys choked that game, let us off the hook. And this next game, we're lucky for this too because the Giants clinched their playoff spot yesterday by beating the Indianapolis Colts. So they have nothing to play for next week. Their seeding will not change no matter what happens. They will be the number 6 seed no matter what. So the Giants, they could rest their starters next week and we could end up playing against our backups. But you never know because we beat the Giants 48-22 a few weeks ago. We dropped 48 points on the Giants in their stadium. And we are a division rival of the Giants. And the Giants, you got to wonder if there's a mindset of this team humiliated us a few weeks ago. And 2 years ago, this team cost us a playoff spot by tanking against the Washington football team in the final week of the season. Yeah, I think the Giants players, I think they still remember what happened at the end of the 2020 season when we threw that game to Washington and cost them a playoff spot in the process. So the Giants, it depends. I could see a scenario where the Giants, they play their starters the entire game to spoil the Eagles. I mean, that wouldn't be the smart thing to do. They should rest their starters after at least maybe a half or a series or a quarter. But I could see a motive for revenge when it comes to the New York Giants in this game next week. Jalen Hurts has to play next week. Gardner Minshew, he cannot play against the New York Giants. He can't. He cannot start against the New York Giants. If you want to bring in Gardner Minshew after the game's out of hand, if the Eagles are up by a crazy margin, then go ahead. Bring him in. But he cannot start that game. We need Jalen Hurts. These last two games have proven to me, beyond a reasonable doubt, that Jalen Hurts is the 2022 MVP. He's the MVP. We were 13-1 with Hurts. We are 0-2 without Hurts. Hurts is that difference maker. Gardner Minshew, he can't run. He has no escapability. He looks so slow when he runs, by the way. And his arm strength is kind of suspect. Like the 4th and 22 play, when basically it's like a last desperation play. The game's already over, but it's a desperation play. He throws the ball short on 4th and 22, like 8 yards short. He throws the ball 8 yards short on 4th and 22. The guy, he's a decent backup, but that's what he is. He's a backup. He is not a full-time starter. If Gardner Minshew plays next week, we can lose to the New York Giants. We can lose to the Giants next week with Minshew. We need Jalen Hurts. We need him back next week. We got one more chance, guys. One more chance to clinch the number 1 seed. If you go from 13-1, leading the NFC the whole season, to choking a number 1 seed, with 3 games left to go, when all you needed was 1 win in those 3 games, that would be one of the biggest choke jobs in NFL history. We cannot let that happen. We never hear the end of it. Are we really going to let the Cowboys steal the division? Do you guys want that? Do you guys want the Cowboys to steal the division from under your nose? Like, come on. Coaching staff, I swear, if we ignore the run next week, if we come out with this pass-happy offense next week against the Giants, don't let it happen, guys. Don't let it happen. Number 1 seed, you got one last chance. One last chance because the Cowboys suck and they let us off the hook. So you got one last chance. Get it done next week. Get it done.